A scream cuts through the lobby of the Shelbourne Hotel. Within seconds, a man is pinned to the Victorian tiled floor. At his side lies a 5.5-inch sheath knife, stained red. Nearby, a woman lies motionless, her face resting against the cold tiles. As police drag the killer away, he whispers 7 chilling words. "I did it because I loved her." The victim is Christine Granville. To the local police, she is simply a former cabin stewardess. But to British intelligence, she was one of the most decorated and fearless secret agents of the Second World War. She was Christina Skarbek, often remembered as Winston Churchill's favorite spy. How did a woman who repeatedly outwitted the Gestapo, crossed frozen mountain borders, and survived some of the most dangerous missions of the war, end up murdered in the lobby of a cheap London hotel by a man she once tried to help? The answer lies in the tragic reality of what can happen to the weapons of war once the fighting is over. Born in Warsaw, to an aristocratic Polish patriot and a Jewish mother, Christina grew up fiercely independent, with an insatiable desire for freedom. When Nazi Germany invaded Poland in September 1939, that restless spirit found its purpose. Her country had been crushed, and she refused to watch from the sidelines. Because women were barred from active military service, she approached British intelligence in London with an audacious proposal. She would ski across the snow-choked Tatra Mountains into occupied Poland, carrying propaganda in and bringing intelligence back out. The British took the gamble. If she was caught, they could deny everything. They gave her a new identity, Christine Granville. For the next 6 years, she lived on a knife edge. She crossed mountain passes in temperatures below -30, slipped through enemy patrols, and outsmarted the Gestapo. But it was in occupied France that her reputation became legendary. When her circuit leader, Francis Kammertz, and 2 fellow agents were captured by the Gestapo at Digne, Christine refused to disappear. Instead, she walked straight into Gestapo headquarters and bluffed the officers into believing an Allied invasion was imminent. If they executed the prisoners, she warned, they would soon answer for it. The bluff worked. The 3 men were released, just hours before their scheduled execution. By the end of the war, Christine Granville had become Britain's longest-serving female special agent, a woman one colleague described as possessing a nostalgia for danger. But then, the war ended. Victory brought celebration across Britain. For Christine, it brought exile. Her homeland had fallen under Soviet control, making it impossible for her to return safely to Poland. Her brother was imprisoned by the new communist regime. Her mother had died during the occupation, and the country she had fought to liberate no longer had a place for her. Britain offered little comfort. The intelligence service quietly dismissed her with a single month's salary. When she applied for government work, officials noted that she cannot type, has no office experience, and is altogether not easy to employ. The woman who had risked her life behind enemy lines was suddenly judged unfit for ordinary office work. Forced to earn a living wherever she could, Christine worked as a switchboard operator at India House, before waiting tables in a small Polish cafe in Knightsbridge. Neither job suited her fiercely independent spirit. Eventually, she accepted work as a cabin stewardess aboard the ocean liner WWII. It was a painful come-down. The woman who had once dined with generals now cleaned cabins, balanced tea trays, and served second-class passengers. It was aboard the WWII that she met a quiet steward from Wigan named Dennis George Muldowney. At first, he seemed like one of the few people willing to stand beside her. The shipping company required staff to wear their wartime decorations. Christine's uniform carried the George Medal, the OBE, and other ribbons earned through years of extraordinary service. Rather than earning admiration, they provoked resentment. Some crew members mocked her as a foreigner and openly bullied her. Muldowney defended her. Grateful for his kindness, Christine allowed him into her life, and for a time, they became lovers. But while the relationship offered Christine companionship, Muldowney saw something very different. He became convinced they shared an unbreakable bond. To Christine, he was another wounded soul she wanted to help. To Muldowney, she became an obsession. By early 1952, Christine understood that the relationship had become dangerous. She tried to end it. She avoided the places he frequented, resigned from the shipping line, and began planning a new life. Muldowney refused to let go. He even left his own job at sea and accepted lower-paid work as a porter at London's Reform Club, simply to remain close to her. When Christine departed on a 6-week voyage to South Africa aboard the Winchester Castle, his obsession deepened further. He rented a room at the Shelbourne Hotel under a false name and quietly waited for her return. Meanwhile, one bright possibility remained in Christine's life. For years, she had maintained a deep bond with her wartime companion, Andrzej Kowerski. The two planned to marry and begin a peaceful life together in Belgium, for the first time since the war. An ordinary future seemed within reach. On June 14, 1952, Christine packed her belongings at the Shelbourne Hotel, ready to fly to Belgium the following morning. Then, fate intervened. Her flight was cancelled because of engine trouble. Forced to remain in London for one more day, she returned to the hotel. That same evening, Muldowney encountered a seaman who repeated malicious gossip about Christine. Consumed by jealousy, he returned to the Reform Club, collected a wooden-handled, double-edged sheath knife, and walked to Kensington. At 10:15 that night, Christine entered the hotel lobby. Muldowney followed. He demanded the return of the letters he had written to her. Christine calmly replied that she had burned them and wanted nothing more to do with him. It was the firm rejection she hoped would finally end his pursuit. Instead, it pushed him over the edge. He lunged, pinning her against the wall. Before anyone could stop him, he drove the knife into her chest, piercing her red fox head scarf and her heart. Within seconds, Christina Skarbek was dead. Christine had tried to escape him, but in 1952, there was little legal protection from an obsessive pursuer. Muldowney was hanged in September 1952. Still consumed by obsession, he declared, "To kill is the final possession." But Christine Granville was never possessed. She was buried at Kensal Green Cemetery. As a fierce wind swept across the graveside, her friends sang the Polish national anthem. She survived the frozen Tatras, the Gestapo, and 6 years of clandestine warfare. In the end, it was not war that claimed her life, but peace. Her final years remind us how easily nations celebrate their heroes in wartime, and how quickly they can forget them once the fighting ends.